to be using this green pepper pattern. This pattern is what we're going to use to make our biker shorts. It's an easy pattern and it's perfect for beginners. I decided to choose the size large to make, and that line there is the line that I'm going to trace over once I put my trace paper on top of the pattern, and then I'm just going to trace over that line all the way until I trace out the shape of the pattern. So go ahead and lay down your pattern paper and make sure it's very flat so you don't have any flaws in your measurements when it's time to put the garment together. And then lay your trace paper down on top of that. And then I grabbed some candles just to hold the paper in place. Then I grabbed my transparent ruler and then I trace on that large line, and I go all the way around until I trace out that shape of the pattern. Once the pattern is traced out, I like to label it. I labeled it leggings, as you can see, but it's actually biker shorts. So I changed that, and then go ahead and transfer any of the markings from the pattern onto your trace paper. Right now I'm tracing out the grain line, and if you guys want to know what a grain line is, just leave a comment if you guys want me to make an in-depth video on different markings on patterns and just patterns in general. So I'm just going to cut out the pattern, and then I grabbed my black jersey fabric, which is very stretchy, perfect for biker shorts. Then I fold it in half, and then I take it over to the table. Once at the table, please make sure your fabric is very flat. This is very important because, like I said, you will have flaws in your garment if you don't lay out everything flat and cut it out neatly. Alright, so I'm going to just pin around the whole pattern, attaching it to the fabric. Make sure you go through both layers of the fabric, and then I cut it out with my rotary cutter. I use scissors sometimes, but some simple patterns like this one, I like to just use my rotary cutter because it's so fast and it beats scissors hands down. So I just cut around it, and again I'm using candles as weights so I can hold the pattern down just securely on top of the fabric. Even though I pinned it down, you just don't want that pattern to move so that you don't have flaws in your garment. Now the pattern is all cut out, and voila, there's your pattern, and also there's your fabric in the shape of the pattern underneath. And then I unpin everything, and there you are, there it is. You're gonna end up with two pieces because remember at the beginning we folded the fabric in half, so you'll end up with two pattern pieces at the end. Then since this pattern is hard to tell which part is the front and the back because it's just black, I'm going to mark a W on both patterns indicating which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side, and the W indicates wrong side. Take that pattern on over to the sewing table and fold it in half, and then go ahead and pin down the inseam, and the inseam is just the inside of the biker short leg. Just repeat those steps to the second leg of the biker shorts. Then I go over to my sewing machine, and then I switch out my straight sewing foot, which is right here, if it can focus, there it is. And then I change it out for my overcast foot. If you guys don't know what feet is, like I said, I can make a more in-depth video just explaining things about the sewing machine, patterns, etc. Now for the fun part, we're just going to sew right down that inseam. And as you can see, the sewing machine is sewing on the very edge of the fabric because I'm using my overcast sewing foot. Once you get to the end, just cut that thread, and then as you can see, it's going to look like this. It was sewn only at the edge. And then again, we're just going to repeat those same steps we did to the last leg of the biker shorts. You're just going to do it again for that second leg. So pay attention to this part. This is very important so that everything can come out right. You're going to take both of your biker short legs, then you're going to take one and flip it right side out. And then once it's right side out, you're going to take the one that's right side out and you're going to tuck that down into the one that's wrong side out. If you're confused, just watch what I'm doing and you'll see it'll be very clear what I'm trying to explain. So once everything is tucked in, it's going to look just like this. And there's the crotch seam. We're going to be sewing around that right there. But first we must pin so that the seams will be even. So just go ahead and pin around the crotch seam, and then we're going to take it over to the sewing machine. Then once at the sewing machine, of course, just go on and sew the crotch seam. Just go all the way around until you come to the end. So now all the seams have been sewn. You have your biker shorts here, but of course it's not finished, so we have to hem the biker shorts. So we're just going to take it over to the, the ironing board. Sorry, we're going to take it over to the ironing board. Then we're going to flip up a 1-inch seam. Make sure it's a 1-inch seam because you don't want one leg to be longer than the other. And then we're just going to press it out. Just double check, make sure. And then you're going to press out that hem. This next step, I'm going to be switching out my overcast foot, and I'm going to be trading that foot in for my single stitch foot. I'm changing it out because I'm also going to be changing my needle. I'm going to switch my single stitch needle to a double stitch needle, and that needle is what I'm going to use to hem the biker shorts. Here I am now taking off the single needle. Focus. There it is. And then I'm going to use the double stitch needle. Okay, there it is there. So when I put it on, I'm just using that to make a neater hem when I sew the hem of the biker shorts. You guys will see what I'm talking about. It's going to look so much cleaner. Here's the end result of me using the double needle. It looks much neater and it makes sense in this project because it makes the hem look really nice and clean. This project calls for a 1-inch elastic. So I'm just going to measure out 29 inches using my yardstick. You can use measuring tape, whatever you have. Just measure out 29 inches of the elastic. Once you cut the elastic on one end, mark off a 1/2 inch, and then you're going to take the other end and you're going to overlap it 1/2 inch, and then you're going to pin it. Take the elastic over to your sewing machine and using a straight stitch, go back and forth over the elastic, making a strong stitch so that it doesn't come apart. Now that you have sewn your elastic together, you're going to take that elastic and you're going to pin it to the waist seam of the biker shorts. Once the elastic is pinned to the waist seam, then take it over to your sewing machine and just go ahead and sew. And also I switched out my straight stitch foot for my overcast foot because I want to sew the fabric and the elastic together at the edges. And once you're done, it should look like that. The elastic is attached to the waist seam at the edges. And you see, when you open up that seam, it looks like that. Next, we're going to fold the elastic over to the inside of the biker shorts. And from the right side of the garment, we're going to top stitch through the fabric and the elastic using a double needle. And we're going to catch the edge of the fabric and the elastic and straight stitch the elastic to fit the fabric as you sew. So you're basically done now. Just go ahead and cut that thread. And here's a look at the waist seam. That double stitch looks so nice. Here's the inside. And we're just going to look at the end result of everything that we just did. I just want to thank everybody that watched the video all the way through. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I sparked some inspiration to get into sewing. And with that being said, please hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell button so you could be notified when I post new content. Until next time, guys, good boy.